Commissioner, thank you very much for being here. Thank you for your time and your patience answering the questions today, much of which has been asked and re-asked. I apologize if I get into that area, but I represent 770,000 constituents, all of which have an opinion about something as well as they should. But not many resonate, not many issues resonate as they have on this issue in particular with the IRS, because it impacts everyone. And the question has to do with the way in which it's hypocrisy that the IRS expects citizens to live up to a certain standard, but doesn't hold themselves to that very standard. And as a former businessman and person who complied as a citizen, I am asked to comply with the IRS. If I were audited and the IRS showed up at my doorstep and they said, where's the information? And I said, my server crashed, sorry. I don't think the IRS would be as lenient with me as the government has been with the IRS in such a circumstance. So this is what angers people. This is why a hearing like this happens. And I think this is regular order for a committee like this to bring this issue forward, because, as my colleague said earlier, we have run out of options. Our job is to oversee and make sure that government runs properly and according to the law. And my frustration sitting on this committee and being a part of all this is that it doesn't operate that way, that we very infrequently have real oversight, that those that come before this committee oftentimes just stare us down and go on their merry way. They take a lashing and leave as though they've done their job. But it's very frustrating for me. I've learned that I will not accept it. This all has to change. But I want to ask you, the IRS has promised to deliver all of Lois Lerner's emails relating to the targeting of various conservative organizations, but was unable to because her hard drive had failed, and a substantial amount of backups, the backups were destroyed as well. And I wanted to ask you about the backups. Ordinarily, there's a forensic research. If I'm running these operations, I go and make sure that every possible remedy, every possible option was taken to ensure that we checked everything, to find everything that was asked of us. Can you tell us whether or not the IRS review the backup tapes? Or any information? For example, did they go back and look at the hard drives that handled Lois Lerner's emails? Did they look at the email server? Did they look up at the BlackBerries that she had then or has now? All of these things, laptops, did she have more than one? What was done to try and preserve this information, this critical information for this committee and the American people?
As I noted, there were, all of this started, the investigators started 6 months before I got there. There were instructions issued to preserve all media, and we'll share those with the committee. The decision in 2013 trying to respond was the most likely place to find these emails was in the hard drives in all of the employees. Hard drives of 88 or 90 employees were pulled. They were reviewed with agreement with the committees as to what the searches would look like to make sure they were getting everything responsive to the inquiries. And that's how we ended up with 1,300,000 pages of documents. With regard to Ms. Lerner, there were 78,000 of her emails provided, 24,000 from that gap period. When I was advised of the gap period in April, I said we need to go and look at everybody she communicated with, because if there was an email in her box, it was on somebody else's as well, and we found 24,000.
Can I ask you this? Did she ever, after all this happened, did she ever come to your IT department and say, someone help me find these emails?
There are
Because
emails.
if my computer
Yes.
crashed, I would say it's critical, especially if I were the director of the IRS.
Right.
I would immediately go to the IT department and say, please help me, something's gone wrong here, find my emails.
And there are emails in which she wrote to the sent to the IT department in 2011 saying, my hard drive looks like it doesn't work, it's crashed, could you fix it? The hard drive was reviewed and worked on by IT, and they sent her a note back saying, we can't find any of the emails. She was, according to the emails, unhappy and upset that the emails had been lost, and they said the only way to conceive of it would be to send it out somewhere with experts, and they didn't do that. But they did have, there are contemporaneous emails, which ironically were provided to everybody in the end of 2013. So it's not as if there was a conscious effort to hide the issue that her hard drive had crashed. And she had, as you said, been very concerned and asked for help to try to fix it.
Mr. Chairman, my time has expired.